Good morning, everyone. It's Bella, the founder of the IMbody Wellness Institute. It's so wonderful to be back here on the channel to welcome you. I'm sorry I've been a little bit away, but I've been really immersed in not just vacation, but every time I travel, I feel like I really tap into something much deeper than the superficial way that we live. So the travel, especially to my home country, reconnecting with my roots. And now I'm back in Los Angeles, where I spent a lot of my time as an undergrad. And what I have to share today with you guys is a little bit outside of the realm of what I normally talk about, but I've just received a lot of this information on an energetic level of just perception of what's happening in our world. And there's two things that are happening at the same time. It is the end of the world in many ways that we know it. There's no denial, about it, whether we call it apocalypse, whether we call it the end of times, whether we call it a transformation, but it is happening at very fast paces. The other thing that's happening also is this spiritual transformation, which is also happening at a very fast pace. And it's maybe some of us are less aware of it, but it's happening just as dramatically as the physical changes that we see happening at a political, social. What's being asked of us is really to embrace this transformation and really engage with the transformation, trust the transformation. And it is very difficult to deal with this chaos if you've never stepped outside of this comfort zone. And so I want to share personal experience to really highlight some ways in which it makes it easier for us to go through these big breaks. I think I was 9 at the time when the Soviet collapsed, living in the Soviet, at the time, Armenia, and our country went into a war, blockade. So it just literally went dark for 2 years with no electricity in the cold winters, lack of food, lack of hot water. Even cold water was sometimes difficult to get. So it was kind of an end to a world, and everything that we knew as the reality all of a sudden wasn't there anymore. So how do you go from that to thriving again? First surviving through that, but then thriving through that. And there are a number of things that really are helpful. And you might think that this is only happening to them and this community, that community, and you're sending your prayers to, like to the people in Texas right now. But it's really important for us all to prepare, because the changes are coming. And it's key for us to be prepared, not prepared just on the physical levels, but emotionally and being centered. So the way that you can really think about it is, when there's a storm, the only way to survive the storm is to be in the eye of the storm. So either you're away from it completely, or you really get into that inner peace and you allow whatever happens to transpire while you are at peace, while you know that everything will work out for the best, even if it doesn't. There are things that are beyond our control, but panic is the worst thing you can do, because then you go into a fight or flight mode, and then your decisions are really not reflective of, they're not going to be best decisions you can make for yourself or for your loved ones. So it's really important to learn to balance yourself and center yourself in kind of the small situations, kind of in preparation for what's coming, for the changes that are coming. And so when it happened, it was almost like we all of a sudden just had to get rid of this notion of what the world was supposed to be, and started imagining, what is it that we actually want. And at the time, it was completely inconceivable leaving the country. We had no means of leaving the country, and and so it was like a very gradual process of finding some opportunities in Russia, and then from Russia in the US, and figuring it out on the way. But at the core of it, it was always like maintaining this curiosity and adventurous spirit of, okay, we are in a situation. What can we create out of this? How can we make the best out of it? So that attunement to the best possibility is really key. I also really believe, and this might have been very helpful at the time, that having this self-care routine is the most important in these times of chaos. Why? Because it's like everything is changing, but your center has to stay unchanged, and the way you do that is you rebalance yourself with the self-care routines that you have kind of acted and reenacted on so many occasions, and it's turned into like who you are, that you can create that peace no matter what's happening on the outside. So for example, in a much smaller scale, when I'm traveling, I don't abandon my self-care routine. Yeah, it's not as extensive, but the meditation has to stay there, whether it's yoga, running, or some kind of a physical activity to get that stress out, to keep your body strong and prepared, to really get your mind off of everything that's happening. Another key is really like honoring your body and taking care of it in a nutritional way, just really making sure you're giving yourself the right nutrients. When you are able to take care of yourself and create that safety space around yourself, then you can go through anything, and you're much more likely to survive in the face of any kind of chaos. And there's also very important survival skills and that we need to learn. I think a lot of us have unlearned how to do some of the basics. There's like all this incredible resources in nature of food that we have no idea how to take advantage of. There's ways to, let's say, my dad created this, he built this handmade stove in the house, and we were cooking our food literally burning his books. So how do we, it's we can transform this into a fun activity with your kids, and going camping, for example. How do you survive in the wilderness? Like those those skills are gonna come in handy. They always do. We always, no matter the scale, and we don't know what the scale of the change is going to be. So that's very important. And finally, the most important key is building your safety net, and that means like real bonds, real friendships, where it's not like the superficial, oh, it's so nice to see you, it's like you really know that someone has got your back. And I was going through a really tough time this year, mentally, physically. My neighbor that just became if it wasn't for her, I don't know what I would have done. She would like drop off soups at my door without even knocking on the door. She would pick up my daughter and stay with her for many hours on end without asking for anything in return. And so this kind of knowing that there's someone there for you. And I've even started kind of gravitating towards people that have these survival skills. Like there's a friend of mine who does spear fishing, and there's a friend of mine who knows how to, like pick out fruits from all the different trees. And so like, I know a lot of you are going to think I'm crazy, but I really think it's time we kind of have that knowledge of what it is that we need for survival. So again, remember, staying calm and keeping a positive outlook is the most important. So always understanding that no matter what's happening, it's going to happen. So just having some curiosity and a sense of adventure and awe in like, okay, this might have been destroyed, what can I create? And it's life is about that, like we think that we have everything under control. We don't. Life is about change and transformation. So accepting that is the key. And second, as I said, it's like maintaining that core, that peace within you with self-care practices that I teach all the time. So please take advantage of the resources I've been posting for years now on YouTube videos, and like how to meditate, how to breathe, how to eat properly, how to, like, all of those things are really key right now. And like I said, the safety net is really, really key in your communities. Also, just being guided by your intuition and knowing to trust it. So if intuition is a very precise thing, and if you're following it, you will always find better solutions for yourself. You might avoid being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You might be able to help someone because your intuition guides you to help them. So don't disconsider it. And there's ways to train and hone into your intuition if you need help with that. Really, I'm really passionate about helping people do is unlock that especially that feminine intuition that's at the core of who we really are. So I know this video is a little out there, but I have to share what I perceive in the reality, and right now that's the message that came through. So I hope you enjoyed it, took something important for yourself from it. And if you need any support through these times, I'm here. I do one-on-one work through all of these different modalities that I've studied and practiced, but I have my own way of working with people that's very integrative and transformational. It's really about integration and transformation. It's coaching, healthy living, and lifestyle. So those are the three areas I work with people with: group work, community work. I've worked for many years in health policy, in working with populational level, behavioral change. And if there are ways to engage with that you know of, I'm open to it as well. Our world has changed so dramatically. Unfortunately, all the money going to the developing world has dried up, and so I can't really get my hands dirty with that type of work. But I am really, really passionate about supporting you individually or in any group that you might have. So big hug to all of you. Thanks for listening, and take care of yourself.